because of concerns of exactly what Reda was saying, of possible escalating violence and the conflicts across the region. We return now, though, to the situation of those civilians inside the Gaza Strip who've been deprived of access to fresh water, food and medicines. Joining me now is Tamara Alrifai from the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian refugees. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. We've been reporting about the roughly 35 trucks of aid that have now entered inside Gaza from the Egyptian side of the border. But the UN keeps saying this is nowhere near enough.
It is nowhere near enough indeed, in quantity and in content. 14, 15, 20 trucks per day is very, very little in the face of the immense needs of people in Gaza, all over Gaza, including 400,000 internally displaced people who are currently taking shelter in UNRWA schools and in UNRWA buildings. One very important point to keep reiterating, and thanks BBC for giving us airtime, is no fuel is entering into Gaza. No fuel has come into Gaza over the last 2 weeks. It has not been part of the convoys of last night and the day before. Without fuel, we're not going to be able to move any trucks around. We're not going to be able to generate electricity that is much needed for water desalination plants and for life support machines in hospitals.
Of course, Israel has said that although it has agreed to allow aid to continue now into the Gaza Strip after it had tightened its siege, it says it faced unprecedented attacks on its soil just over 2 weeks ago, a massacre, hostages taken into the Gaza Strip. It says that this is a fight for its existence, and its concern about fuel is that Hamas, which governs Gaza, would take fuel supplies and use it in its attacks against Israel.
The United Nations and the international humanitarian organizations as a group will guarantee that the fuel and all humanitarian supplies, the food, the medical supplies, the mattresses, all humanitarian supplies will be used to assist civilians in Gaza, particularly those who have been displaced. And so making sure that the convoys are regular, safe, unimpeded, and completely governed by the needs that are identified by the UN, in particular UNRWA, the organization I represent, and in particular because UNRWA delivers the aid itself. My own colleagues in Gaza are the ones going around the different shelters, assessing the needs, distributing bread in cooperation with the World Food Programme. There's no better guarantee than the United Nations in such a situation.
As you say, UNRWA is vital inside Gaza at the best of times. The UN says that 80% of Gaza's population before this recent escalation over the last 2 weeks was already reliant on aid. The UN has said we're looking at a humanitarian catastrophe. It's given examples of 50,000 pregnant women at the moment enduring this siege in the Gaza Strip. The international community is pressing Israel to let humanitarian aid in, but also recognises Israel's concern about the safety of its citizens and its desire to defend itself.